Do you believe in magic? And let me be clear about what kind of magic I'm talking about. I'm not necessarily talking about that, like, pull a rabbit out of your hat, pull a quarter from behind your ear kind of magic. No, I'm talking about like the magic of moments and relationships, the magic of coming home from camp at 8 and your mom saying, I have tickets to New Kids on the Block for you and your friend, and you get dressed up for like the best picture ever, but you don't put your Jordan Knight button on, and so you feel kind of bad after that picture has been taken. I'm talking about like the magic of driving your 76 bright orange Chevy Nova as the head of the homecoming parade for the class of 99 for OM. That kind of magic. So I graduated from OM and went to school and studied Italian. And I loved Italian. I went to study abroad in Italy, and I loved it so much that I decided to teach Italian in the public school system. Teaching Italian in the public school system is a wild journey. You get kids to draw pictures of you and talk about you in basic adjectives. But one of my favorite moments was taking kids to Italy. So every 2 years, we would take 30 teenagers to Italy. 30 teenagers. And so I'm going to tell you about a magical moment that happened on one of these trips. We were in Rome. And 3 of the Jewish students that were with me wanted to go to the Jewish ghetto in Rome. So we left the crowd, and we took a taxi. If you have never taken a taxi in Rome, it's a story unto itself. And so we headed over to the Jewish ghetto, and we pull in front of the most beautiful building, the synagogue in Rome. And we're pulling on the doors, and nothing opens. And we turned to the guard that's there and we said, what's going on? He said, everything's closed. It's a high holy day. We're near Passover. So I'm like, well, we're not going to waste this trip. We're going to walk around. And we start seeing these signs and these plaques telling us the day that the Nazis came to take away the entire neighborhood. We see plaques that are talking about how many kids were taken out of a school on that one day. We see plaques that are talking about the unborn children that never got a chance to live because their parents were taken away that day. And the streets are so quiet. There's literally nothing. Like, imagine taking this taxi ride and going there, and there's nothing happening, absolutely nothing happening. And we see one store that's open, and it's a souvenir shop. And we go inside, and there's an older couple in there, and one of my students tries to say something in Hebrew to the older woman. And the woman says, I don't speak Hebrew because when the Nazis were here, we weren't allowed to learn Hebrew. And we just stood there in shock, realizing that we were looking at living history. She explained how she and her family were spared and made to stay in the neighborhood and work for the Nazis when she was 12. I asked her her name. I said, "Come si chiama?" "Mi chiamo Speranza." Her name was Hope. She decided that day to bless us. She asked us if she could give us a blessing, her one little bit of Hebrew. She laid her palm on the foreheads of the children that we were with, and then she turned to me and said, even though we're not of the same faith, I would love to offer you the same blessing. We stood there, we had tears in our eyes, and we left this souvenir shop feeling like, was that just magic? But that's not the end. Later that year, my parents went back to Rome, and so I sent a letter, and Speranza was so happy to meet the mama of the Americana, and I was happy to share pictures of my family. And then as I would take kids back, I would always look for her. And one year I went and I was told she was napping and couldn't come out, but her son hosted all 30 of us at his Israeli Roman restaurant, and we ate really well. But my favorite trip was when I took my kids. We went to her house, she invited us up, she served us juice, and she squeezed my babies like only a nonna can. And she told me that her husband had passed, and that when I came to Italy the next time, to look up in the sky and give her a wink because she felt like she wasn't going to be here for long either. So those are those magical moments that I encourage you to seek out and look for, so that you have that sort of barefaced wonder of a kid looking at magic. And I'll leave you with this. My mother had a friend named Jack, the kind of friend that you speak through mixtapes with. And Jack was dying of AIDS. And she went to see Jack in the hospital, even though he was in quarantine, and she cried. And he soothed her, and he said, "Shirley, out of all of the stars in the universe, ours crossed, and that can't be undone." That's magic.